GM. Welcome to the weekly roll-up where we run down all the top news in the world of Web3, the world of crypto, the world of NFTs, the world of blockchain. Make sure you got everything you need to know downloaded into your brain once a week. You're here with Jay Bird and my co-host Kyle Reedhead. What's up, Kai?
What's going on, friends? We've got another excellent episode for you today. This week, we are going to be talking about Magic Eden moves to optional royalties. I mean, we called it on this show, but just didn't think it was going to happen this soon, to be completely honest. The world's largest hip-hop music festival is launching NFT passes, so that is super cool. Markets are down, but devs are up. We're going to talk about that in a report that came out, I believe, from Hype. DAO of the month. Hint, it's built on a layer 2, so that is really cool. And finally, we have a big announcement coming out of Web3 Academy, so stick around to the end where we're going to dive into that announcement. If you like to learn about Web3, you want to hear this announcement. Jay, we like to practice gratitude before every single roll-up. What is your gratitude this week?
Yeah, I am grateful for the sauna. So I try to sauna at least twice a week. And it makes a big difference in my physical health and my mental health. There's been some incredible research done on the impact of sauna and how it can help your cardiovascular system and how it can help you get into a state of calm and meditative state. And it also is really social for me. Working from home, I don't get to see a lot of people very often. So going out, I go to a local sauna here in my community, and I get to hang out and meet some locals. So yeah, grateful for the Whistler sauna.
Nothing like a nude social connection with a bunch of old
dudes. It's co-ed. It's not nude. It's not nude.
I also used to sauna every single day. I was in it this morning, man, and it is a good social time, to be completely honest. I was talking about NFTs this morning in the sauna, so it's pretty funny. My gratitude this week is the sport of hockey. I've been out of Canada for about 4 years, so I haven't watched any hockey in a while. Yeah, Jay's got his Edmonton Oilers sweater on. We're both Canadian, so we like our hockey, although Jay's more a basketball fan. But I got back last week on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and I went with a buddy to the London Knights game, which is the local team in my hometown where my parents are from. And so immediately got full on Canadian mode and went to a hockey game. And then the Leafs are playing, so I was watching the Toronto Maple Leafs with my dad. So it's kind of funny. It's been a while since I've been into hockey, and it's been good to get back into it and watch some good old hockey. Much better sport than soccer. Ask Raul.
Oh boy, get him on Twitter. It's also funny you bring up sports because a few of our news items today are about sports, and sports is such a big part of culture. And Web3 is adopting that. And it's a great onboarding ramp, and we're gonna be chatting about that today. But before we get into today's episode, we need to take a minute to hear from our sponsor.
The future of social media is here, and that future lives in Web3 on top of Lens protocol. Web2 social platforms are broken and ripe for disruption. You see, the epicenter of social media is the creators, and yet they are the most neglected. Web2 platforms like Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram are all essentially robbing creators of their worth. Creators are a new type of entrepreneur, forming new types of businesses. Yet with Web2 platforms, creators don't own their content or their profiles, and that's their product and business. Instead, they are tied to the platforms they choose to create on. Well, just like how crypto is freeing us from banks, Web3 is freeing us from these centralized platforms. On Lens Protocol, creators own their content, own their profile, and even their social graph and followers in the form of NFTs. This allows you to move freely from one social application to another with your content, profile, and followers moving along with you. Lens Protocol enables self-sovereignty for your social graph and interoperability across the internet. At Web3 Academy, we believe this is the future of social, and that's why we partner with Lens to ensure that the path of social media is heading in the right direction. Visit lens.xyz to learn more today.
Okay, welcome back, friends. The first big news piece of the week comes out of Magic Eden. I'm just going to read their tweet here to start it off. Here's what they said. After some difficult reflection and discussions with many creators, we've decided to move to optional royalties on Magic Eden. Effective later today, we will also begin running a promotion to waive our platform fees. This is pretty crazy. And I mean, we've been talking about this for a while, Jay and I. Just saying, if it can go to zero, it's probably going to go to zero. This is the way this stuff typically works. If we can't enforce royalties at the marketplace level, at the protocol level, then, you know, there's going to be other marketplaces that come up that skirt that. And we've seen it with SudoSwap and what's the other one's name, Jay? I can never remember.
Yeah, it's X2Y2.
X2Y2, that's it. So the reason that this is coming as fast as it did is Magic Eden states in their article, and you can move to the next one, Jay, but they actually stated that we are doing this because we're starting to see the market choose to go to these other platforms. They want to go to places where they can spend less when they trade. And so for Magic Eden to stay relevant, it's just what they have to do. So I'm very surprised it's happening so fast. It's interesting what they're actually doing here, though. So first of all, I just want to say Magic Eden didn't want to do this. They want to support creators. They would love for creators getting royalties. They actually launched $1 million fund, like a hackathon, to help innovate on the future of creator monetization, and whether that's through royalties or other means. So they're putting money out there to try to figure this out. But for now, to stay relevant, they just had to make this move quickly. What they're actually doing is they're not removing royalties, but they're basically making it an option for the buyer to choose if they want to. So the buyer can now see what the creator is asking for in terms of royalties, but the buyer does not have to select that. They can actually choose any royalty price they want. And so what happens is when they go to sell an NFT or buy an NFT, they can select a certain amount, 2%, 5%, whatever they actually choose. And they can set that as like a standard. So every time they buy or sell an NFT, then those royalties will be at that price. So they can kind of select from whatever they want. And also what Magic Eden does is they're showing the different features or utilities that came along with the NFT. So when someone goes to buy goes to sell it, they can see that, you know, they were supposed to get Discord access. They were supposed to get this type of thing and this merch and this discount. And they can decide, like, did I get that experience? If I did, I should probably reward the creator and give them their royalties or give them something, almost like a tip. You could think of it as. So it's an experiment. It's kind of interesting what they're doing. But we'll see how it all plays out. And we'll see if actually people start to come back to Magic Eden as a result of this. I'm assuming they will. The other thing they're doing is actually partnering with what is it called? Cardinal Labs, I believe. And basically what they're doing here is they're allowing creators to mint their NFTs and wrap it in this sort of smart contract where the NFT can only be sold on marketplaces that actually enable royalties. So you actually can't go on something like SudoSwap and sell it on there. It's a bit centralized. It's not fully built out. It's more of an experiment than anything, but it's something they're also offering and allowing creators on Magic Eden to experiment with and try. I think the UX is probably not the greatest on it yet. And again, it is somewhat centralized. So we'll see how that goes. I think the key thing is here is that they're trying, but they have to just listen to the market. And right now the market is saying, hey, you know, we don't want to be paying creator royalties. And part of that, just to be clear, is because a lot of the NFT space is speculators and traders, right? So that's the way it's just going to be for now. We'll see if that changes. The last note, and then I'll let you sort of jump on this, Jay, was very interesting. I saw a tweet from Robbie. Can't remember his last name. What is it? Robbie Ferguson, the founder of Immutable, and which is a layer 2 on Ethereum. And he tweeted out and said that all royalties are enforced on all marketplaces on Immutable because it's done and enforced through the protocol level. I don't really understand how that's possible yet, because it seems Ethereum can't do it, Solana can't do it. Like, why can Immutable do it? I've tweeted at him trying to figure that out, trying to actually get him on the podcast to talk about it so we can update everyone, all of our listeners here. But yeah, that was just very interesting. And he had this whole thread and it got pretty big. So I'm interested to see how that's possible. Anyway, what are your thoughts here, Jay?
First thought is, I'm not surprised, as you said, that Magic Eden did this. And the main reason I'm not surprised is, who is Magic Eden's customer? Magic Eden customer is Solana's ecosystem. That is most of their transactions happen on Solana. Who is Solana? Who are buying Solana NFTs? Flippers, right? A lot of flippers are on the Solana ecosystem. So obviously flippers, as you mentioned, those are the people that want zero royalties. So yeah, not massively surprised that Magic Eden did this, because like, this is a business move. You see you're losing market share, then like, you've got to adjust. And it's very simple to see why you're losing market share, because over here, these other markets are offering 0%. So you're just going to do that too. We've got a lot of respect for the Magic Eden team, though. Great team, very well respected in the industry, known for very
They're very open and
open.
upfront about what they're doing.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, big fan. So I think that more so it's the royalty debate that just keeps coming up. And I really think that it's very clear that it's going to be difficult to enforce royalties on chain. So there needs to be a reason that you pay royalties. Where it's cool to see is Magic Eden is experimenting with this. Okay, we're going to show you those reasons, right? We're going to show you what utility is involved in this NFT so that you see why you should be paying royalties. Now, I also saw a very interesting tweet. I don't remember who it was by, but it talked about one of the issues if we do go 0% royalty is the misalignment that could generate between creator and community. So if you keep a royalty, then the creator has an incentive to keep delivering to the community, because if they do, then they're going to get a royalty as a revenue stream, right? Whereas if they drop, if you had a 0% royalty, let me ask you this, would we be at a risk of a whole bunch of rugs where people could just create projects with no reason to continue and then just rug and go out?
So this is the problem, is there are so many different types of NFTs that require different business models. Like if you're a community NFT, which most of these are over the last 2 years, I don't know why they care about royalties. If you're building a community, the last thing you want is someone leaving your community. That's the whole, that's so counterintuitive to what a community is. So your business model should have never relied on royalties anyway, right? So like they shouldn't even be thinking about royalties. So who cares if your PFP project can't get royalties? It's a dumb business model to rely on royalties regardless. The only people this really matters, in my opinion. So I don't think that like, did you get in the Discord? Did you get these, whatever? Like, I don't know. I don't really care too much about that. More for me, it's the artists, right? When you're painting or you're creating digital art or whatever, music, and you sell that, and you sell these kind of like high-end one-off like pieces of art, and you sell it to someone and they end up selling it to someone afterwards, like you should probably get a cut of that. That I get. Because there isn't really any other business model that they can do there. It's just you buy my art or you don't buy my art. So like those are the people that I think should get royalties. Someone like Nike who sells this big collection, do they really? I don't know why they have royalty fees for that. Like they don't need it, you know? Same with these communities. Like your goal is not to get people to sell. So if you want to align incentives, get rid of royalties. It doesn't make any sense, you know? So I don't know. I think people need to understand there's many different types of NFTs that have served very different purposes, and they all are going to have different business models. I think the ones that are hurt the most here are the artists.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that, I mean, it reminds me of Taylor Swift and how she does not get, I don't really remember what her exact deal is, but basically she signed with a label very early in her career. And this is before she blew up, right? She was not a massive celebrity, didn't have, the whole world listening to her music. And so she got, I think she was paid like $1 million for the rights to her masters, right? So it's like all of her songs created before that time. And at the time she's like, oh my God, $1 million. This is amazing. So great, right? Well, now obviously that's worth a lot more than $1 million. So she doesn't see benefit from that. Now that's different because she signed a deal with a label that did work and blah, blah, blah. But my point is, this is what happens with a lot of artists is when you initially produce your art, there isn't usually a lot of value in it, right? It's later that the value is accrued over time. Your value creates because people care about your art. And so that's why it does make a lot of sense for there to be royalties back to those people. What's amazing though, is I have heard stories of, because let's also remember, not all transactions happen through marketplaces. You can do a transaction without a marketplace, and lots of high-end NFT traders and collectors are doing that, right? Particularly with, art that they're selling for like, $1 million. Well, we don't want to give a cut to a marketplace. Let's just make a private deal.
Right.
And in those private deals, it's up to them. It's up to those two people. Do we honor the artist royalty or not? And it is becoming a bit of a standard that they will go back to the artist and say, hey, the seller will go back and say, hey, I sold this piece. I sold it for $1 million. Here's your 7.5% cut.
For art, I'm all for it. For art, I am all for it. But for PFP communities, that's not art. That NFT has nothing to do with art. Most of them. I mean, all of them. There's not any good art in a PFP project. They're all about community.
Whoa.
Come on. They're all these like pixelated, whatever. That's not art. I mean, sure, some of it is art, whatever. But I just mean the business model is different, you know, with that. But for sure, you're going to sell, I don't know, Peoples. You should give people a cut of that 100%, you know?
Yeah. We got to get Robbie on too. I'm very interested in how Immutable is enforcing this, whereas everyone else doesn't seem to be able to do it. Okay, let's jump into the next news. Loud Punks. All right, so Rolling Loud, which is the largest hip hop music festival in the world, has 6 locations around the world: Miami, LA, New York, Toronto. I believe they did Netherlands, Portugal, and I think they just announced Thailand for next year. And we're talking, 80,000 people at these festivals. So massive music festival, massive IRL event company that has been incredibly successful at building culture around music and around hip hop. They have announced that they are dropping an NFT called Loud Punks. So let me just give you a little bit of a breakdown of this. This NFT collection is not dropped yet. Their current date for mint is November 9th, although I heard that in an interview, like they haven't actually published that online anywhere. So, classic, it's Web3 and smart contracts are complex. So it might be November 9th. It might not be. It's a 10,000 collection. It is a PFP, but the purpose of it is not, as Kyle just said, the purpose is not art, but you could use it as a PFP if you wanted. The purpose of this is all utility. And why this is so freaking cool is because of the utility. So the main utility that you get for this is you get a lifetime pass to all Rolling Loud festivals. So you want to go to LA, Toronto, New York, Miami, boom, you're into all of these. Now, they have not announced what the mint price is going to be, so do not know that yet. We will update you guys in the coming weeks once that news comes out. But we do know a ticket to this event costs somewhere between, I think it's about $500 to $1,500, depending upon, are you GA or are you VIP? And there will be other utility as well, special will call line, access to lounges at the events, premium Discord, like that sort of thing. But pretty cool to see a major IRL event. It's not the first. Coachella has done an NFT and a couple others. I think, I can't remember the name of the other one. A couple others have done this, but this is the first that's a 10,000 piece collection doing an NFT. Kyle, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Am I the only person that thinks that giving lifetime access to all of your in real life events is a terrible idea? What is the business model here? They're going to have to sell these things for so let's say, you said their VIP tickets are $1,500 probably, but I get to go to every single, remember, this is on the blockchain. So this NFT is there for forever. Even after I die, I can give it to someone else. And so let's say the next 200 years, maybe that's how long what's this called? Loud Punks or whatever goes for. Okay. 200 years is ridiculous. Let's even 50 years, even 20 years, right? We're looking at, and I guess there's more than one event of these per year, right? You said there's 6 per year. So if I go to all 6,
currently there's 6, there might be, they're building more.
Okay, so that's 10K a year if I went to every single one. And let's add 10 years to that. There's 100K. Okay, so they need to sell at least 100K per NFT in order to make money here. Otherwise, this makes no sense. So look, Coachella did this, I think it was, and who's the other one? Was it Tomorrowland or whatever? I'm not against lifetime access to things. I mean, this is the series that I'm writing right now about tokenizing communities. It's all kind of you give lifetime access to something if you want to build with that community and you want to create something of more value. Otherwise, I don't really understand a business model ever, where you would just say, hey, buy this thing one time, but I'm always going to have to create value for you. Because what this means is if people buy these, I don't know what they're going to sell them for 5,000. or $10,000 or whatever it's going to be, they now have to make sure that they have an event and a VIP access and everything working for these people for the next 100 years, right? So they're going to make $5,000 with people, and now they have to cater them for 100 years. How does that make any sense as a business model? It doesn't. It makes zero sense. So to me, if you're going to do this, subscription model, why would you not make, I get the idea of having an NFT, you can go to all these events and it's cool and you can get extra things and join a Discord and blah, blah, blah. That's great. But in order to hold that NFT, I should have to pay, or someone should have to pay $1,000 a year or whatever, I don't know, whatever amount they want. Otherwise, I just don't get it. Because after a year, to me, it seems like now they're just at a loss of every single one of these. The only way I would say maybe this makes sense, and I think this is what Coachella did, is you sell maybe 10 of them, but you do an auction. And so now you have your biggest fans all kind of like trying to buy this thing, and it probably goes for like, you know, hundreds of thousands. Okay, that makes sense. You know?
Coachella sold 3 tiers of NFTs, and the top tier was a lifetime pass. There was 10 of them, and they went for, and it was an auction, as you mentioned, and they went for 170,000 to 250,000.
Right. Okay. So now your margins make sense. Plus the benefit of, I'm sure that gets in media and all this stuff. So like it hypes up your festival. So like, I like that. But 10,000, that's like more than 10% of the entire people who show up to your festival. And after the first one, it's now you're at a loss. And now you got to do this for the next 100 years. I don't get it. I just don't understand.
Okay, well, let's first assume they did the numbers on how many people are going to use these at each event, right? And let's say that they get, I mean, conservatively, first, let's assume that they have 60% unique owners, right? Let's all remember NFTs, a lot of people are buying multiple of these, right? Very common in these collections. So let's say you have 50% unique owners, 60%, let's say, unique owners. That would be a pretty standard. Then let's say of those 60% unique owners, 6,000 of them, I don't know, like conservatively, like maybe 30% would show up to each show. Maybe like, and even that would be high, right? So I don't think you're not getting, you know, everybody coming to every show. But you make an interesting point. Like, if we look at the business case here, what's the business case? Is the business case the finances? Is this a massively, so let's look at that. And then what are the other business cases here? Because there is other business cases here, which we talk about all the time on Web3 Academy. It's not just about profit. There's community, there's huge opportunity to build with people in your community. So on the business case side, I'm not convinced on the business case unless they sell at a price high enough, or unless they say that the cost of actually fulfilling this, maybe it's not a very high cost for them. Because if you look at it like this, I would bet that festivals like this can easily throw another 3,000 people in there. They're probably not like sold out. Do you know what I mean? Like they've got big grounds. Oh, you want us to throw another 3,000 people in here? No problem. Yes, they have to produce a special lounge for them, and sure, that has cost, but I don't think there's a massive cost for them to fulfill these. And then I think the other thing on the business case side is, okay, who are they selling these to? And this was the big unlock for me, and why I think they're doing this right now in a bear market is they're not trying to sell these to their typical ticket holders, because their typical ticket holders don't want to buy NFTs. They actually got pretty roasted on Twitter for this, right? Because what does mainstream think about NFTs? Mainstream hates NFTs, right?
So you think that they're trying to sell this to the Web3 community and bring in new customers?
Exactly. And you know how I know this? You can only buy an ETH. You cannot buy this using your credit card or using any fiat. So you must buy an ETH, which means you're already in Web3. And I think they're sitting there saying, look, we've got the PR hype machine that can generate enough traffic to this, that can make the Web3 community like go, oh shit, lifetime pass utility. What, like, oh, you think I should buy this other NFT project that's promising some big metaverse and some big story? No, like, look at this. This is real utility right now. And let's say they sell it for 5,000. Let's say they do about 2 ETH, right? That's 5,000 ETH times 10,000. That's $50 million that they would do, right? Now, maybe lifetime that $50 million is not a lot.
The Taylor Swift story. It's the Taylor Swift story you just explained.
But if you get 50, but here's the thing, what's $50 million worth now? What can you do with that? Can you invest that $50 million and make it worth a lot more, right? You know, potentially. So I think, go ahead.
My question is, are they, because here's what I think happens. They do this, and you're right, maybe it just goes to Web3 people and they get new people in. That's cool. But once they're actual fans, like the people that actually go to all these events, get wind of this and go, oh, I can get lifetime access, they're going to go and get their ETH and get a MetaMask wallet, and they're going to buy these things, and they're going to use the fuck out of these things. You know what I mean? And so now, now they're screwed because they're making no money off of their best people. So to me, it makes more sense where you still use an NFT. I think the NFT idea is great. One, because you can do different experiences and stuff, and that's cool. There's a limited amount, so that NFT can go up in value, especially for those who are part of this. Like for me, the way that I see it is this is bringing your community together. They hold this thing. They're now like the most VIP you can get. They go to all the events. They are now incentivized to make these events better because then their NFT may go up because there's more people who want to buy them, right? So that to me is cool. It's just they don't really make any money off this unless they're trying to rely on royalties, which we just talked about is a stupid idea. So for me, the way you do it is have an NFT, but in order to hold it, you pay a subscription fee. And now every year you got to pay it. So at least the sound, whatever, is making money off of this, but they still have people who are incentivized, you know, unless this is like a DAO and they want to like share some revenue and these are builders or like people who might help them take their business to the next level, then okay, it's well worth it. Just give them the NFT. It's kind of like equity. Maybe you share some revenue, but if it's just actually going to be people who just want to attend their shit, I don't understand why they would do this. It's just, it doesn't, other than maybe they have this cool investment plan where they're going to take this 50 million and toss it in ETH and hope it 10x's in the next year. You know,
cool investment plan. That's just your investment plan, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. It's we'll see how it plays out. But
I think the other thing that we have to recognize here is if you are a major business and you have an opportunity to create a community of 10,000 massive, like loyal fans right now, what is the long-term effect of that? Is where does that, you know, we talk about wanting to decentralize, right? We talk about wanting to build culture with our community. We talk about wanting to involve our community in our products and in our decision making. And I'm not even necessarily talking about a DAO, but this is the way you do that. Like, to me, this is a massive commitment to the ethos of Web3. They're saying, hey, we want to play in Web3 and we're going all out. Whether it works financially, again, I think Kai, you and I both admit we're unsure of the finances of this, but I don't think they're completely ignorant to the finances. I'm sure they crunch the numbers. I think more so, I think what they're doing is they're looking at this and they're saying two things. One, we can probably raise $50 million, whatever it's going to be, 20 to 50 million, it would be my guess right now in a bear market. Holy shit, let's go fucking do it. And
well, it's not a bear market for them. Well, I mean, it is, but I don't think hip hop's getting impacted right now. People are going to festivals.
Usually entertainment does not get impacted.
We live in the crypto world, so it's a bear market to us. Everyone in mainstream's like, what are you talking about? What's a bear market?
The recession's hitting you too soon. Don't worry.
I'll tell you what I think they're going to do with this. They're going to rug the Web3 community, and they're not even going to have another festival next year. They're just like, let's sell these things 50 million, and this is the last year they're going to run a festival.
Savage.
I hope not. I'm kidding.
Oh,
all right, let's go to the next one.
All right, let's go on to the next one.
What is the next one? Developers. This is me. Okay, so this was a report that came out from Alchemy. I said it was hype, I think, but it's Alchemy. This is very interesting. So speaking of a bear market, this report came out looking at the developer activity across, it was mainly Ethereum, the L2s, Polygon, and I think Solana. And some very, very interesting stuff. So if you haven't been in this space long, every time we've had a bear market, which has been, I think, 3 times in terms of crypto or crypto winter, the devs just fall off. They just fall right off. And it's like, oh shit, no one's building anymore. This time has been very, very, very different. So despite Ethereum being down 70%, developer activity is up 40% this year. this year in 2022. So that is huge. If we look at the amount of people actually building and launching, so this slide that Jay has up, this is the biggest, Q3 is the biggest ever in crypto's history. So Ethereum installs for SDKs is up 178% year over year. Smart contracts verified is up 160% year over year. And there's 12 times the amount of dApps since 2018. It's insane. Here's a cool stat. You can keep scrolling down, Jay, if you like. 36% of all verified smart contracts were deployed in 2022, making 2022 the biggest year ever. And it's still not even over, right? So 36% of every single smart contract ever verified, installed since 2016, I think was the launch of Ethereum. 36% all happened within this year, and we're only 10 months into the year. So that's pretty crazy. That's pretty awesome. Actually, 9 months, because this would have been up to Q3. What do we have? So more than 12,000 dApps with one or more active user in the last 24 hours, up from 1,000 in 2018. This is crazy. On L2, so check this out, 700 to 1,000% increase in dev teams across L2s and other L1s like Polygon and Solana. 700 to 1,000% increase this year, or sorry, in Q3. And then another note, which was not actually in this one, but Polkadot, which also, Polkadot recognized that more than 500 contributions each day in September is an all-time high in total developers on Polkadot as well. So basically every legit blockchain is seeing just all-time highs in terms of developers. What's funny is in a bull market, anytime you see a blockchain that's like reaching new levels of new devs, the price just goes crazy. We're in a bear market and we're seeing every blockchain just going through the roof in terms of devs and activity, and no one even cares, right? This isn't even like, everyone's like, whatever, man. Yet in the bull run, everyone's like, go where the devs go where the devs go, you know? And it's like, man, the devs are here and they are just flocking into this space. My take, literally the only thing I wrote down for this of what is my take on this, bullish. It's so bullish. You have the most like human capital and just intelligent minds coming into this space and just building and creating. It's incredible. Kevin O'Leary keeps talking about this. He's like, when you have this many people, like you go to Harvard, you go to all these like MIT, all they're doing is talking about blockchain. So you have all the smartest people in the world moving into this space. What do you think is going to happen? You know? So anyway, bullish take from me.
Yeehaw, baby. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Yeah, it's so interesting because when you're in the space every day, as we are, these stats don't necessarily surprise us. But then when you step back and you consider what this means, I can't believe how much building is happening across the space. So much so that, I mean, Kai, you probably feel like this. Every day I find out about like a new piece of infrastructure, a new protocol, a new industry that blockchain is like creeping into and affecting. It is Web3 is eating the world. It's just that it's only the nerds that are involved right now. So everyone else is like, and the UX sucks. So, you know, and this is what happens, right? When you create a new technology, you need the devs first because you need them to build. You got to build all the infrastructure, you got to build the standards, you got to build the protocols. And then the product people come in and they make it look pretty and they make it fun to use and they make it easy to engage with. And we're still in that phase one where it's all the building with the devs. The product people haven't really come in yet, at least not at the scale of the Web2 world.
But the thing is that this is all compounding, right? Because it's all composable. Every single time one thing gets deployed, everything else can build on top of it and add to it. And like the speed at which this is all happening is actually quite insane. And again, every other bear market, all the devs left. And so like until all of a sudden, you know, Bitcoin had a halvening or the government started printing money again and the prices started to go up, then everyone came back. So there was that sort of delay. Even though the prices came back, we still didn't have a lot of things built, right? And this is the first time where, hey, prices down, everyone's left in terms of like the users, but man, the devs are just piling in still. So the next time that this comes around, holy shit, it's going to be a whole new world. And everyone's going to come in and go, look at all this stuff that's been built the last like year or 2 years. It's going to be a wonderful thing. I don't know how long that's going to take. We'll see. But like that momentum is really, really building and it really excites me. And you got Polygon up on the screen and shit. I feel like they must have a dev or a biz dev team of like 10,000 people, because every day we got our quick takes today. There's how many things are being built on Polygon? It's absolutely nuts.
I got the next piece of news. Can I use this as a launching point? Here we go.
Yeah, perfect transition.
Speaking of Polygon, Polygon has, this is super cool, super cool. Polygon has, or on Polygon, the police in India, in one particular region or city of India, have launched a complaint management portal on the blockchain. So, okay, let me break down for you what this means and what's going on here. Okay, so in this region, and I'm just trying to get the name of this region, the Indian district of, I can't find it. I'll get it in a second. So in this region, Firozabad. Forgive me if I said that wrong. Firozabad. So in this region, they have across all of India, they have a massive issue with their legal system, which apparently has not moved digital. It's still all in paper. There is over 40 million cases in backlog to go to the court system. At the current pace, it would take them 250 years to get through all of those cases. So as a result of this, what has happened is it's led to the police will receive a complaint from a citizen, and they'll do a few things. They either won't file it because they don't want to work on it, or they won't file it because their superiors are like, we can't take any more cases, like just push it under the rug, don't deal with it. So it's led to this issue where there's all these citizens who are dealing with crime and dealing with very hard situations, and they can't go to the police because the police won't do anything about it because of this massive issue and backlog. So what has happened is, in this one city, they've decided to put the complaint system on chain. So rather than the traditional method of like going to a police station or phoning 911 or whatever the 911 number is in India, you now go online, and for free, you don't have to pay gas, for free, you can post a complaint. And it's now on chain, so it's immutable. And they've created this system where you can follow it along. So you can see, has an officer been assigned to it? Where is it at in the process? And anybody can see this now. So I don't know that this necessarily solves India's backlog of cases. That's a massive issue that I'm not sure how they deal with. But what an incredible way to put power in the hands of citizens and make them feel safe again, and make them feel like they can use the police system that they're paying taxes for. I mean, Kai, give me your takes, but I'm so fired up on this. Is such a cool use case.
I think we often think of blockchain use cases to be financial. And this is just one that is really, really cool and just makes so much sense for that can impact so many people, because it's not just India that has this problem. I mean, I lived in Mexico and South America and in Asia, Southeast Asia for a long time, and they have all the same issues, right? Just it's underdeveloped countries who don't have a good police system. And I mean, shit, even in Canada, it's not even that great. But I think it's an amazing use case. I think it makes complete sense to keep that open and transparent. It's not just the immutability, which is huge, because I mean, there's obviously a lot of what's the word that I'm looking for? Corruption, exactly. But then to see and track and see what's going on with it all, I think is super cool. I think it's really smart, and it's going to keep citizens more accountable too, because if I'm doing a bunch of shit in my neighborhood all the time and people can see that I'm getting complaints on this blockchain, I'm probably just not going to do it, even if the police doesn't do anything about it, because I'm like, shit, my friends and my family can see my name on there that I keep walking around the neighborhood naked or whatever it is that I'm doing. So yeah,
Kyle just keeps leaving the sauna naked. Can we just get that guy back in the sauna?
So I mean, it's an incredible use case, and I think it's really cool to see. There's going to be so many more of these use cases that we're not thinking of that blockchain is going to solve. And so yeah, I love it. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that what is so exciting about this, as you said, is, and this is really the whole point. We keep talking about decentralization, but I don't really think that we necessarily know what that means yet, because we've lived in a centralized world for so long. So what happens when you decentralize something like this? Exactly what you just said, Kai. Now, maybe you actually don't need the police. maybe a
Self-governance.
community can police itself, because everybody can see and be aware, oh, here's a photo, here's this guy, it's all on chain. I can, there's a nice system where I can go and log in and see the recent complaints in my neighborhood, and I can start to be aware of that and keep myself safe. I mean, I just think there's so much power in allowing decentralization and allowing community members to participate.
It's less decentralization. I think what you mean is transparency and immutability. That's the unlock here, right? Not really decentralization doesn't really matter here. It does, because that's what allows for the immutability, but it's more that it's open and transparent, I think is what you're trying to say. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just talk quick about other applications that this makes us think about, because I think this dives me into a few other applications. And the obvious one is review systems, right? Google reviews is a fantastic tool. Amazon reviews, all these reviews, if they are correct reviews, right? And that's a huge problem. You can game that system right now. Well, what can happen if we put it on chain is you can only allow people who actually bought your product to be able to give a review through on-chain mechanisms. And and then you can show when they bought the product and how, you can show all these details because it's all on chain. I think reviews would be a big one. And then you can connect it back to somebody's identity. So you can know, maybe you don't necessarily know who they are, but you know that they have a identity that is recognized, not just in Google, but across other platforms, because it's all interoperable.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to buy a couch right now because I just bought an apartment in Toronto, and so I'm on like Wayfair and all these other ones, and some of them are kind of some sketchy sites, and I read the reviews, I'm like, is this a real person, or like what's going on here? So I would absolutely love it, and I would love to know that they've actually bought it, and seen it. And so I think it takes a while to get to that. We need to get to the point where all commerce is on blockchain. It's going there. It's definitely going to get there. Yeah, I think that'd be super cool. All right, let's push on to the next one, and talk about Mastercard. So Mastercard is helping banks offer cryptocurrency trading. So probably like, yeah, whatever, not that big of a deal. Here's what's actually happening that's quite cool here. So Mastercard is working with a company called Paxos. Some of you may have heard them already. They have the third largest stablecoin currently in crypto, the Paxos stablecoin. They are the institution which works with PayPal and allows PayPal to manage all their crypto. What's really cool about Paxos is they are compliant with all the regulations in the US. And so the problem with banks right now, because you're probably like, well, why don't banks just do their own cryptocurrency trading? It's that they can't, because the compliance of crypto is so difficult and basically impossible to keep up with, that they just can't do it. They can't risk it. And so if they were to hold crypto and try to deal with this all, they cannot. They're so scrutinized, the banks, that they cannot go against what the SEC says or the CFTC. And so they just can't risk that. All the banks want to start allowing their users or their customers to start buying and selling crypto. They just can't. And I think Mastercard's been in crypto for a while now. They really get what's going on here, and they see the opportunity. And so they said, hey, let us come in. Let's work with Paxos, who's already compliant, is already handling all the stuff, and they have all the lawyers and all the whatever they need to make this stuff work. And Mastercard is being the bridge between Paxos, who's the crypto native company, and the banks. And Mastercard is like, we understand the banking infrastructure and how the financial services system works. We understand how crypto works via Paxos. Let's integrate them all together. And this allows banks to easily be able to offer crypto services to their users. The reason that this is a big deal is, like, for those of you listening on the podcast, most of our podcast listeners are like, I don't know, late 20s, early 30s, most. I'm sure we have others who are older or younger even. But from the stats we see on Spotify, that's who you people are. And we appreciate you people, by the way. But most of you who are between 25 and 35, you could give two shits about your bank. If anything, you're like, can't wait to be bankless, right? That's why you're probably listening to this podcast. That's why you're into crypto. But anyone who's like 50 plus, like my parents, for example, just pure boomers, they love banks, right? They're like, banks is everything. That's how they do all the things. That's how they invest. That's how they save their money. They wouldn't touch a financial service if it was not from their bank that they've been with for like 40 years. You know what I mean? So a lot of people who are 50 plus want to get into crypto. They want to invest. They want to be involved in this stuff, but it's just not available. They don't want to go and download a Coinbase app and deal with all that, or friggin' use MetaMask and Uniswap. Like, they're never going to do that. So they're kind of just sitting there waiting. And so it's actually a big opportunity, and banks know this and they want to do this because, one, they know they're getting disrupted, so they need to get involved. They're just like, Gary Gensler, get your shit together and let us know what we can do so we can get this stuff in. And so this is sort of like that, like we're kind of jimmy rigging a service for the banking people via Paxos and Mastercard. So I think it's pretty cool and actually going to be a very big deal whenever it goes through. I think it was Q1 is when they're doing their first test of 2023. And then they'll look to like launch this across many banks and many locations. So we kind of have to take what we can get so far.
It's huge news. And you nailed it when you said it's onboarding for the customer that uses banks, which we need. I just gotta say, I love the marketing that is happening from banks right now. So whenever you hear banks talk about crypto in the media, and here's a quote directly, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon recently called crypto, this is last week, he called cryptocurrencies decentralized Ponzi's. So they're out there spreading this message because they don't want to lose their customers, right? So it's like fear-based marketing. Cryptocurrencies are scary. They don't go invest in them, don't use them. But here's what's going to happen behind closed doors. They're all investing in this. They all have crypto. They're all building in it. And they're going to come to you in a few years and they're going to be like, cryptocurrencies are safe, but you do it our way. And here's our way to do it. It's just like, I mean, Kyle and I are marketers, so not to put us down, but don't get caught up in marketing. Read the fine print, know what's actually going on.
Jamie Dimon wants his Bitcoin cheap, and that's exactly what he's doing here. But they also know that they're going to get completely disrupted. So they have to stack up. They have to like slow it down because they've got to adapt. And so the only way they can do that is by slowing it down. So like he knows it's not decentralized Ponzi. Jamie Dimon is not a dumb person. I mean, he's incredibly smart. He gets what's happening here. He doesn't think it's a decentralized Ponzi. I mean, actually, you know what? In all fairness, a lot of crypto is a decentralized Ponzi. So like he's just referring to those ones.
All right. Wow. We are, we're only like 5 stories in and we're already a while into the show. We've been chatting. We got lots on today's show. Let's keep moving along. Okay. DAO of the month. DAO of the month as voted on by you, our community. We had over 300 votes this past week, and the winner is...
And the voting is done on Twitter, by the way. We run polls on there. So actually, first of all, we asked everybody, the community on Twitter, who should be in this poll. And so we had a bunch of people like nominate, and then we took the top 4. We tossed them in here, ran a poll, and now, Jay, go for it. Who's our winner?
As I say, you really took the the hype out of that. Thanks for the technical definition on how to get involved. Follow us on Twitter. The DAO of the month is Treasure DAO. Treasure DAO they won 90%. Over the other nominees were Nouns, Water and Music, and Seed Club. And Treasure won 90%. They had over 250 votes. This is the power of community, people. If you're not getting your community voting on DAO of the month or NFT of the month or other of the months that we have coming up, next week is Web3 Person of the Month. Tool of the Month. So you want to vote on that. But let me tell you about Treasure DAO because they're doing some pretty cool things. So Treasure DAO is a decentralized video game console connecting games and communities together through Magic, which is their token, and NFTs. So essentially what Treasure DAO realized was the problem is that in order to build this decentralized metaverse, we need a few things. We need interoperable standards that allow you to port items across games. B, we need a common currency that can be used across games. And also, we need tools for developers to build on. So they have standards that they can use and different tools and platforms to use. So basically, that's what Treasure DAO is. They are the home base for game developers to create their games in a way that they can be interoperable. And what's really cool about Treasure DAO is really their community. That's what's so powerful about it. So when TreasureDAO first launched last year, I believe it was like the end of last year when they launched the DAO, there was a team building for a while, a core team. As Kai, you and I have talked about, the way to create a DAO is have a core team build for a while and then decentralize and open it up to others. When they did launch, initially their focus was on free mints. They realized that the way to create a decentralized metaverse is you need to allow everyone to come in. So it's all free mints. You could mint Magic for free, which is their token. You could mint NFTs that they use in their games for free. And we've talked actually a little bit about on the show, and there's a lot happening around this free to play, free to own model that I think is pretty much going to change the face of gaming over the next decade. But TreasureDAO is at the forefront of that by allowing new users to come in for free, get NFTs, get Magic, and then start to play these games. And this is not the only case of this. I mean, Gods Unchained is one of the biggest NFT games that Immutable X created. I'm trying to remember the names. There's a few other games. Gods Unchained is not on TreasureDAO, but this model of free to own, I think, is really blowing up. And TreasureDAO is leading the way. And what's so cool, actually, Kyle, I'll let you tell what happened after us announcing this.
Well, so first of all, TreasureDAO is on Arbitrum, and the reason they won is because someone who really understands community is Andrew Saunders, the CMO of Arbitrum, who we had on the podcast. You should check out his episode. It was a couple weeks ago now. Yeah. He's an ex-Amazon and moved from Amazon to Arbitrum. He saw this and goes, "Oh, okay, let's get the community involved. I'm sure they'll vote for TreasureDAO." And so he retweeted it out and pushed it along to his crew, his community. And of course it worked. And that's why they're getting free marketing right now to the Web3 world. So well done, Andrew. But also as a result, the founder of TreasureDAO saw this, or their team saw this, and we're going to have the founder of TreasureDAO actually on the podcast. I'm not sure when yet, but we will get him on eventually. They've done some really cool things. And so we want to talk to them about the community they're building, their DAO, and sort of the product, and just kind of understand more about what they're doing. So that's the power of community, my friends. Great job, Andrew.
Giddy up. Way to go, TreasureDAO. Shout out. Keep an eye for next week's of the month. Would love to get you guys, love to get everybody voting. We got some quick hits to get through here, Kai. How fast do you think we can get through these quick hits in a minute each this time? We've been trying.
That's the whole point.
You got your timer set up?
I'm working on it. Yep.
You ready to rock?
Ready
to
rock.
I'm coming at you with our first quick hit. Okay, first quick hit. Bankless co-founder David Hoffman sues the Department of Treasury.
I love it. David, our boy from Bankless, making moves for the Web3 world. So he was what's called dusted through this Tornado Cash thing. So basically, once there was the sanctions on the Tornado Cash, someone just sent a bunch of ETH to a bunch of like celebrities and high profile people, and David was one of them. And so now, as a result, he has to file a report every single year to the Department of Justice or whatever, whoever it is, and just say like he's not a criminal and those are not his things. And he has to do it every single year for the rest of his life. And if anyone else sends him another one from Tornado Cash, he has to do it every time that he gets anything sent to him. So right now it's just one, but it could be many, many more. And he's like, this is wasting my time. It's absolutely ridiculous. And so him, Coin Center, and someone named John Doe, maybe that person's from Coin Center, I don't know, but they're going to sue Janet Yellen. So it literally says in here, Janet Yellen versus David Hoffman. It's the best thing ever. And this is just Web3 and crypto. This is what they do. This is the best memes. So go get them, David. We all support you. And we thank you for what you're doing.
Damn, all right on time. Well done.
That's how I roll. All right. Mango Markets community set to approve $47 million deal with the hacker who hacked $100 million from Mango Markets. It was last week. Give her a go, Jay.
Yeah. Okay. So this has been an evolving story all week, which has been fascinating to follow. But let me break down the story for you first. So it happened first over a week ago, about a week and a half ago. Mango Markets was exploited for $117 million, which I think is the sixth biggest exploit in crypto history. And this exploit was done on chain. So basically what he did was, there's actually a team behind this, and they have revealed their identity because they are claiming that this was completely legal. So basically what they did was they took $10 million in USDC, put it into Mango markets. As a result of over collateralizing that $10 million, they pumped the price and were able to take out 117 million. Then they went back to Mango markets, to the DAO, and said, hey, let's work out a deal and let's agree on a settlement. And they settled on $47 million in return for not being prosecuted through legal action.
Well done. Well done. Crazy story, though.
Crazy story. Okay, Solana killer Aptos launches its highly anticipated mainnet. Go.
It's funny that they're now called Solana killers. I thought it was ETH killers. But so Aptos comes from the team that was building the Libra currency of Facebook. They shut that down. They took that tech. They're launching a layer 1 called Aptos. And man, this thing launched last week and was worth like $20 billion valuation, and it hasn't done anything yet. It's just a piece of tech that literally has done nothing. It felt like a bull market vibes of 2020, 2021. Complete joke, in my opinion. More importantly, though, like I'm sure the team is really good here. My take is this. We don't need another L1. We have enough L1s in this industry, all trying to figure things out. Some of them work great, some of them not so much. We have a ton of layer 2s in this industry, all very promising. Why the hell are we building more L1s? It's just to extract value. You don't need an L1. Go and build on something that already works, like Ethereum and their L2s, or even Solana, whatever, and like build an application that's going to move this industry forward. Stop with this bullshit of just getting VCs to give you a bunch of money to build the next killer of whatever. I'm over it.
Over it. What you
All
got
right.
next for me, Kai?
NFT house sells for 175K. They say it's the first one. I don't think it's actually the first one, but give her a go anyway, Jay.
Yes, super cool. So an NFT sold as a house. And it was the third largest NFT sale last weekend, which is pretty cool to see. So this was through Roofstock on Chain, which is a marketplace that lets you buy single family properties as an NFT. So here's how it works. They open an LLC for each property. The LLC takes ownership of the property. They tokenize the property and mint an NFT that represents ownership of the house. And then people can browse the NFTs on the marketplace and buy homes with one click. Like this is literally on OpenSea. So you can go to OpenSea and you can see the traits of this house. You can see that it has like 2.5 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms. And the city is Columbia and the square feet is 1,495. So it's, I mean, I don't know. Real estate and NFT has been a hot topic. It's clearly a big opportunity. Will this catch on? How will it catch on? I'm not exactly sure, but pretty cool to see this sort of fun marketing play. And yeah, it's happening.
Buddy, I just bought an apartment in Toronto, and what a shit show that industry is. It needs to be friggin' disrupted. I got all these bills and things, and I'm like talking to all these different people and all these contracts. And I'm like, what am I doing? I don't even know what's going on here. I would love to go on OpenSea and buy my apartment. Hell yeah. It'll happen eventually, but we'll see how long. All right, what's next?
Next up, FIFA and Roblox announced a landmark partnership as FIFA World launches on Roblox. Go.
I mean, you said at the beginning of this episode is that, hey, sports is huge. It's a big part of culture, and they're making their way into Web3. In this case, it's not crypto, but it's in Roblox. That's super cool. I mean, there's so many people, hundreds of millions on Roblox, creating some really cool experiences. So FIFA's getting their feet wet there, which is awesome. I mean, FIFA's doing a ton of stuff. I think I guess I'm now the new football or soccer reporter for Web3 Academy. But I just saw yesterday that they were giving the awards. I don't know if it was a FIFA award specifically, but it was rewards for football. And they were getting a trophy, and along with it, they were getting an NFT. And so that was super, super cool. So FIFA tends to be all in on this. I mean, there's a lot of teams in the Premier League and others that are, using socios to have like tokenize their fans. FIFA's really pushing the limits here, which is really, really cool to see. So I'm all for it. And I'm a big soccer fan now, so go
Bullish
Barcelona.
FIFA. Way to go.
Bullish Barcelona. Kidding. Barcelona's like $3 billion in debt. Have you seen this story? It's a great documentary on Netflix about this. But yeah, they're actually kind of like a decentralized, they're like a DAO, basically, Barcelona, the club, because they have members which own it. So it's not one person, it's a bunch of members.
Really?
And they all make decisions. Yeah, it's basically a DAO, but they've completely fucked it up. And they're like $3 billion in debt. I think it's 3. It could be 2. I don't know. But yeah, I was learning all about it when I was in Europe. All right. CryptoPunks, social tokens, Bitcoin make it in the Guinness World Records this year for the first time.
Yeah. So we made the Guinness Book of Records, everybody.
We
made
did
it. We did it. We did it. We did it. Okay, so Guinness Book of Records released their 2023 edition, which is hilarious that it's their 2023 edition. We're still in 2022. I don't know why they call it 2023 ahead of the year, but anyways, they call it the 2023 edition.
SEO purposes.
Yeah, exactly. And here's what made it. So first of all, Bitcoin, most valuable cryptocurrency. These are all new categories. Most valuable cryptocurrency, new category. Awesome to see. Bitcoin there. Another category, which was most expensive NFT collectible, was CryptoPunk 5822, which was purchased for $24 million. There actually has been NFTs that sold for more than that, but their way of categorizing this category, their way of defining this category meant that only the CryptoPunk won. And then the other one was fan tokens, social tokens appeared, and they had a category for most valuable fan token, which went to Manchester City's token, which was created by Socios. Sorry, Barcelona did not win, Kai. And the most valuable fan token, Man City's, is market cap of $47 million currently. So hey,
since all the football fans are listening, I got to figure out if I'm going to call it soccer or football. When I was in Europe, I was calling it football. I got to call it soccer. I'm going to do that. I was doing it for Raul, but anyway, I don't know if you saw this tweet yesterday, but Ronaldinho, you know who Ronaldinho is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the old soccer player.
Yeah, the old Brazilian player, right?
Yeah. So he used to play for Barcelona. He, I guess, like when he retired, like just went downhill and went bankrupt doing, I don't know what he was doing. And anyway, and look, I guess he's trying to make some money now. And he was on Twitter shilling some complete shitcoin Ponzi scam yesterday, and that he must have got paid for because he's just trying to make a buck. And like, can't even remember what this thing is. It's like calling it the next, what is the dog coin that went so big? He's calling it the next Dogecoin? One of those. No, the other one. Anyway, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. You can tell that we don't play around with the shit coins. But anyway, he was on Twitter posting this and like trying to shill this just complete shit. And like Kim Kardashian just got fined $1 million. $1.2 million. Better watch your back, Ronaldinho. Like, what are you doing, bud? So funny. All right, what's the last quick take?
Last quick hit. Lexus Driving School is giving NFTs as credentials.
Yeah, this is cool. This is actually just another use case, kind of like we were talking about the police stuff. So basically, when you do your driving test, they're going to give you an NFT, which showcases like your results and how you did and proves that you did X amount of training. And here's how you did the training. So like, makes complete sense. It'll be a soulbound NFT, I'm sure, or maybe they'll go the disco route and put it off chain. But either way, it's going to be a verifiable way to prove that you have taken X training. And maybe this ends up lowering your insurance or, you know, however they want to go about doing this. But another really cool use case, in my opinion, for NFTs that, you know, they just keep popping up out of nowhere that you don't even think. There's just so many. Everything is going to go on chain. It just makes so much sense.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Okay, before we get into our big announcement, because we got a big announcement to talk about, want to quickly show this great tweet that was just hilarious, which is Kanye West was spotted wearing a Satoshi Nakamoto hat after being debanked by JP Morgan.
Looks great. I love it. Go Kanye. He's definitely a big fan. He's talking about it a little bit
crazy right now, eh? I don't know if you've seen what's going on with Kanye
right now, or you mean like for the past 10 years?
Oh, for the past 10 years, but like especially right now. I don't keep up to date on Kanye. I hear this all through Sam, but apparently he's doing some crazy stuff, which maybe isn't that out of the ordinary for Kanye.
I'll be honest, I still think Kanye is one of the best rappers of all time. Graduation is the best album ever created. I've been listening to it at the gym for like 10 years, 20 years, whatever. I love it. Kanye is a lyricist.
Can't deny his artistry. He's a true artist, but he's an
music now is not so great.
Lunatic when it comes to his day-to-day life.
All right, are we a news show in Web3, or are we just a news show of like football and celebrities
and pop culture and yeah?
All right, let's get into the big announcement. What's going on here? Do you want me to do it, or do you want to do it, Jay?
You go for it, Kai.
So Web3 Academy is all about learning Web3, right? It's about learning where the space is going. It's about learning how to build community. And it's doing it not just from Jay and I, but doing it with those who listen to our podcast, those who read our newsletter. It's with the Web3 community in general. We want to learn from each other and learn and grow together. And so early on, we launched a Discord. This was many, many months ago. And we had all the podcast listeners, newsletter readers go in there, and we just shoot the shit on Web3. You know, we talk about the biggest news. We would talk about the people we had, the guests we had on our podcast. And it was awesome. Everyone was learning together, growing together. We do private sessions and member meetups, and it was great. That community ended up turning into a DAO, a tokenized community, which we'll talk more about in later shows, I think. But as a result, we had so many people coming in that we actually had to just shut it down. And we're like, what do we do about this? So it's been shut down the last 2 months. There were scammers getting in there, and it was just getting too much. So we've redesigned it, and we've, with work from the DAO, members from our DAO, which thank you all you've been amazing. And then our team here at Web3 Academy, and we've reopened the Discord. And now what we have is, it's really simple. It's really clean. And basically, it's just a couple channels in there that are forums. So kind of like a Reddit style, where we have podcast discussions. And so every podcast episode has its own space for us to go in, and we get feedback from the listeners. They ask questions. We bring in guests, and we kind of shoot the shit on, you know, whatever that conversation was. We have a Web3 news feed now, which is also in a forum style, where people come in and in the community are just sharing news. And Jay and I are in there talking about our thoughts. Everyone else talking about their thoughts. We actually had a session yesterday with the people in the Discord. We had a call, and we actually prepared this roll-up with the community. So we took all the news everyone's been sharing. We took their opinions. So thanks everyone that joined. So you can get involved in this, and it's free. It's easy to get into right now. We're eventually going to token gate it so that we can give, you know, more perks. Right now, we're just going to bring everyone back in, have some fun in there. It's already lit up. So get in. And if you have questions, feedback, just even about this episode, you can jump in right away. And there's already spots to do that. There's some really cool people that have been joining in over the last little bit. We did announce it in the newsletter. Just a lot of smart people in Web3 that are all in here kind of exploring and learning together. And so really it's a club. It's the Web3 Explorers Club is what this is going to turn into, and really what we want it to be. So if you want to get rid of the noise of Twitter and the bots and all the crap going on there, you come into our Discord and you can talk with real people and learn. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's super exciting to have a place to go to where you can find your Web3 homies. You know, I think it's tough for a lot of people who are super interested in this space. And I mean, at least I know for me, or we had a guest this week on the podcast. It's actually coming out next week. We had Nick from NFT, and he lives in Arizona. And he said he's met one other person in Arizona that is into blockchain, you know? And so you think about how it's tough to find your community. Well, we wanted to build that community where you can link up with other doers, other builders, talk about the news, talk about the tools that are being used, break down the podcast. And that's what this is all about. It's a place to meet and to collaborate with other community members, other doers.
This is a place for doers. If you look through the intro list of who's all the people coming in, it's all people that are business professionals, entrepreneurs, creators that are building and want to really see where the space is going. That's who this is for. And so if you're one of them, we want you in here, and we want to learn from you, and we want to help you learn. So the link is in the show notes below. You can just click there. There's a survey to fill out before you join, and then you can pop in and yeah, it's a great time. So, and actually just to announce next week, so we have events there's multiple events. You can see them in the Discord, but every Thursday we run what's called sandbox sessions. And this is where we bring a builder from the space. They already have a DAO, they already have a protocol, or someone with an idea, and the community kind of joins in and kind of bands around it. And we come up with ideas, give feedback, and we learn together. So next week we have the founder of GM, who we've had on the podcast before. He's coming in to walk us through kind of the future of Web3 social platform, so kind of like Discord, but in a Web3 native way. Really, really cool. The week after that, we actually have some, we're talking about retailers, so big retailers and how they can use Web3. We have some people from some big companies, Walmart and others, who are going to be talking about what their plans are and what they're looking into. And so, yeah, this is the place to be if you want to learn, you know, anything about Web3. So we'll see you guys in there. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Love it. Can't wait to meet you guys in here. And that's a wrap. That's a wrap for the roll up.
Great show, Jay. Great show all around.
You did great today, Kai.
Thank you. I brought the energy, you know?
You brought the heat, baby.
Because I was sauna, gym, had a nice coffee in the
That's right.
flow today.
Morning routine, routine, baby.
And because I'm not in Europe, these are actually being recorded in the morning again. They used to be like in my evening, and I was like, I'm tired.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Time zones are a crazy thing for running a business. All right, folks, have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you for listening to Web3 Academy. We hope this helps you along your Web3 journey. And if it does, please share this episode and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Nothing in this podcast was financial advice. Crypto and Web3 can be risky. You can literally lose it all. In fact, if you invest on account of what we say, you probably will lose it all. So don't do that. In all honesty, the point of this podcast is to remove the noise of markets and price and focus on utility and implementation anyway. So you should not take any of this as financial advice. Thank you, friends, and see you in the next one.